Hi everybody, my name is Todd Brannon and I am the Accidental Excelist. This is video tutorial number 7 in a series of tutorials that are going to culminate in creating a database, or I should say a CRUD style database application or tool within Microsoft Access, if you will. And it's based on the use case is a customer database, and we're creating a front end which will consist of a few different user forms for different views of the data. And we're starting with our data entry, or our main data entry, or our new customer form, as you can see here on the screen. And so in this video, we're going to clean this form up. We've arranged things in kind of the basic arrangement that we want. We're going to tweak this a little bit, fix a few things. So we've got to fix some of these labels. We've got to fix the length, or width I should say, of some of our fields. Like our address field needs to be a little bit wider, and then our postal code doesn't need to be quite as wide, and then our state, obviously that abbreviation even is getting cut off, so we need to fix that. So we'll address that in this video. And so without further ado, let's get started. So we're in the form view. Let's go back to, let's see. All right, so let's flip over to design view, and I'm going to right click on the form in the objects browser here and go to design view. Excuse me. And then what I'm going to kind of start with is I'm going to go up here to the ruler at the top, highlight all these. Actually, I didn't get all of them. That may not be the best way to do that. Let me reevaluate that. Let me click into the grid here. And I want to select all of these fields kind of on the right hand side, and just use my arrow key to kind of bring those over a little bit and kind of widen everything out a little bit. I'll have to tweak a few other things, but that's not a huge deal. So let's start with last name. Actually, let's start with first name. I can bring this out a little bit longer and actually bring last name in a little closer this way. I'll need to move my label, and then email address can be a little bit wider, and then the address certainly is one of those that we had issues with it not being long enough, or wide enough I should say. Then I'm going to widen out the city, and then remember the postal code didn't need to be as wide as it was. I'll bring that in a little bit, but I'm going to scoot it over a little bit. Oops, I did the wrong thing there. Let me highlight, or let me grab that text box and bring it over so they both come over. And then I'm going to widen the state text box a little bit because it was cutting off even the abbreviation. So the country, this is good, and actually that country is about as wide as I want it. I'll give it a little bit more space. And then actually I'm going to take postal code, and I'm going to bring that over, kind of, I don't know, even that out a little bit. Let's go back to form view, see what that looks like. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's kind of where I want to go. It's spaced out a little bit more, and it's kind of aligned better. So let me clean up. Let me go back and fix the postal code label, the email address label, and then in the sign up date label. So let's go back to let's go back to design view, and then let me click in the label, click in again, and then put a space there, and actually want to change that to a capital E. And then sign up date was the other one. Click that twice. And then what was it? Postal code. So click into that, put the space between postal and code, and now we can go back and we can see things are looking a little bit better, a little more professional. I think I want. So one of the things I want to do is I just want to make sure everything is aligned on the left side. So I can go back to design view, and the way I can do that is I'll just choose one of these that I want to use as the rule. So I'll look at the ID label, and I'll go over here and I'll see where the left alignment is. It's 0.3125. I'll just highlight that and Control C to copy that. And then I'll go up to the ruler, and I want to exclude the new customer label up here in the header. So with all those highlighted, I just press Control and click on that to unselect it. And now I want to go to left now that all of these are highlighted, and I just want to paste in that position so they all have the same position. You notice how some of those snap to it, and then we can go back so you can see that's cleaner even to the naked eye. So the next thing I want to do is address this right side. This is a little more tricky. And so what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to grab all of my elements kind of on this right side, and it's a little tough there. But if you have to, if you can't do it all in one swipe, you can definitely hold your control key down and just like as much as I did, like I grabbed these, but the last name label is not there. Press control and just highlight that to select it. So I want to bring everything kind of over to this this 4-inch line. And I don't know that I want it all the way over there. Like I want it like maybe 2 where I can count like 2 dots from it. And then just make sure that all of these are about the same position. Now it gets a little tricky. Like I said, that's actually about 3, and I could bring this over. I could stand to bring that over one little notch, and you can see that's got 1, 2, 3 dots. That's really hard to see. You might have to even zoom in, but I'm going to do that here, and that one's already there. That one's already there. So it looks a little better. So let's go back to the form view. Yeah, so things are looking a little bit better as long as they're kind of aligned on both sides. That looks a little cleaner. And in fact, I was going to do one more thing because I'm about to do another really big design element, but I want to do something before we do that. And I want to bring, actually, you know what, I'm going to take that form header label with us, and I'm just going to use my arrow key to bring those over a little bit further. And I think I'll like that. So yeah, that looks pretty good there. So the next one last thing I want to do before we move on to the next step of things. Let's go back to the design view, and I'm going to go up here in the design tab in controls, and I'm going to find this rectangle here. And so if you hover over that, it's next to checkbox, and I think, yeah, list box. In between the two, there's rectangle. So if I click on that, note here that as I bring my cursor down, I have this plus sign, this little rectangle hanging around. So I'm going to click and drag. And so I'm going to put everything within a rectangle. And this is strictly sort of a design feature. And so I'm going to go to colors. And see all these. If you go to the design tab and go to themes, you can go to colors here and pick one of these themes. And I like to use the themes because the colors, you get some different colors in there that kind of work together sort of in a color coordinated way. So I'm going to select blue green. Then I'm going to go back to format. I'm going to go to shape fill, and notice how that color scheme is now here available as theme colors and not just the standard colors. And I kind of like that. So you can do what you want. This is a total personal preference thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that color. Well, look what I've done. So because it's not transparent, it has covered up all of my form elements. So what I need to do is I need to go to the Arrange tab, and I need to go over here to Sizing and Ordering, and I need to click on Send to Back. And the other thing that we've got to deal with here is now that I chose that darker color, all of my labels are now kind of not visible because they're in that gray color. And the other thing I wanted to show you too is now that I've got this rectangle element, it's now selected as denoted by the orange highlight around the edges. I can't just click on anything inside that rectangle anymore. I have to click outside of it to unhighlight it, and then go in here and click on an element like the ID text box or these labels. So I want to select all my labels. So I'm going to hold the control key down and click on all of them because I'm going to change the font color. And I'm also going to change the outline. You notice there's a little faint gray outline there too because it has an outline color. So once I've got all those selected, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to, actually I'm going to go back to the Home tab. Yeah, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the text formatting area. I could also do this in font. There's a font size and font color down over here in the properties. And actually this is probably better because this gives you all these theme colors, just like you could do that here. But let's just do it over here on the properties sheet. Now I want to make this needs to be a lighter color so it's more visible. Notice it's showing you what's selected is that dark gray. I could just go in here. Let's select this almost white color. And then I'm going to also go into find, let's see, where's my outline color? So the border color here is what I want to look at. And again, it's that same selection that our previous font color was. Well, I don't want that. I want it to be the same color so it just doesn't show an outline as my background. And I believe this is the color we selected. We can check that. Yeah, so you can't see it, but if you wanted to double check that, if I click into the rectangle, now the rectangle itself is selected, and I can go in here and look at the back color, which is accent 3, darker 25%, and it is that one. So that's like what, 4 rows over from the right, the second one up, and then I can just double check that if I click on one of these labels. Remember, I've got to click outside and then back in. And notice the border color is accent 3, darker 25%, and there it is. So that's a kind of a cool way, or I don't know, it's kind of my way to keep track of those to make sure they're the same color. But nevertheless, even to the naked eye, you can see there's no border around that. So things will look a little more, I don't know, professional, if you will. So if we go back to form view, things are looking a lot different than they did at first, right? So there you have it. You've kind of got your self nice and formatted where everything fits. All of our labels are looking good. Oops, I missed that last name. Let's go back and fix that. So remember, I got to click out and then click into that. Can't really see it now, but I know I was in the right position. And then go back to form view, and things are looking much better. Things are looking well formatted. And then we're going to, in the next video, actually, I think I need to bring this down, the size of this rectangle down, because I am going to put a save button. I'll show you, you don't actually need a save button for an add record form. It'll automatically add for you if you cycle through it with the tab. But I'm going to put one anyway because I like it. It looks professional, and some people don't. You know, you might have a user that doesn't realize that in Access that it automatically will add the record. And then I'm going to add a close button so we can close this form and go to our main form. We'll have to make that main form, but as of right now, we're trucking right along here. And then before long, we're going to be able to use this form to add new records. And then we'll be moving to some of the more advanced features of our tool that we're going to build. So there you have it. If you're following along and you're doing well and you've got something that looks similar to this, good job. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks everybody for watching. Please take a minute to like and subscribe, and be sure to check us out at theaccidentalexcellist.com.